How are you?
I'm good. I'm
That's
just fine.
good.
I exist. We are here. We're D minus chats. I'm Brian.
I'm Klingon Cupcake.
Uh,
We're D minus chats. And we are coming to you live from all over the fucking place. And we got an album review for you.
mhm.
You. 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 I'm looking at you. You today. And it's going to be real exciting. It's a good one. So, Brian,
Yes.
what did you listen to today?
Yes, of course. Okay, so before we get to our album review, we were listening to some cool stuff, and I was listening to Greg. I think you're gonna like this album a lot. I really, really do.
Let's hear it, old buddy, old pal.
The new album by OMD.
Whoa. I didn't know they had a new album.
Yeah. It's called The Punishment of Luxury.
Nice. That looks
And
cool.
yeah, that's where you can find it. It is online. The Punishment of Luxury. It came out this year. It is brand new. And well, here's the thing: OMD, Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark. They're known for one song. If you
Yeah.
leave. All right, so um, I've always enjoyed that song, and I've always been interested in them because I thought that song kind of it was the middle ground between synth pop and sophistopop.
Yeah, that's it.
Mm-hmm. This is total synth pop. Oh my
Oh,
god,
nice.
it's so good. Now, it's really really cool. It's a little bit heady, but I'm okay with that. And the song is so cool. The synths are just the textures are fantastic. It sounds great. They experiment with a lot of modern percussion programming. It's really really cool. It's dark in some places. It's really dancey and poppy in other places. It's really big and dramatic and almost cinematic in some places. The album is fantastic. It's so good. And if you remember a long time ago when we reviewed Information Society and we're like, oh yeah, this is what they would sound like now.
Yeah, I do remember that.
This is what OMD sounds like in 2017. Like
Nice.
they took the greatest aspects and characteristics of synth pop and brought it into this year, and it's such a seamless transition. It's a great listen, and I really
Nice.
recommend it to you, Greg, personally.
Yeah, for sure. I'd like to listen to it because there's a good amount of bands that are doing cool synth pop stuff still. I mean, I mentioned while we were listening to the Queens of Stone Age album, Gary Newman's got new stuff and it's really good. I'd definitely really be interested in hearing what OMD is doing now. And if Information Society is doing cool stuff and
Yeah.
Gary Newman's doing cool stuff, maybe OMD's doing cool stuff. Who's to say? Not I.
Not I.
I don't know. Not I.
Not I, said the Tin Man.
I said that.
What were you listening to today?
I was listening to speaking of dark, I was listening to a noise rock sort of album called did I lag?
Yeah.
Am I okay now? Am I frozen in one place?
You are you're a child in time.
I'm buried by time and dust. Oh,
Because
this is too bad.
your icon is frozen on this one face you made. It was just like you looked like annoyed, and it was just like, oh man,
was it nice?
it was great. You're back now.
Well,
You're
all
fine.
right, now we're back now. All right, so the album I was listening to was by this band called No Trend, and the album is called Too Many Humans, and it is a dark, fucking noisy post-hardcore band. Think like Flipper, but
Oh wow.
even noisier and definitely angrier. And that would be No Trend, just totally this angry, venomous, nihilistic noise rock album. They will throw their guitars at your fucking face, and they don't give a shit. They will just they'll just get really angry for no reason, and it's just they'll do terrible things.
No, I don't
Do you
want
want to do
that.
terrible things? I think you
Not
do.
really. I'm a good Christian boy.
What are you? Yeah, well, guess what? Shut up. And that's what they think. That's what they'd say if you told them that. They'd say, guess what? Go home. That's what they'd say.
No.
I know that because I asked them. And so, yeah, they're an awesome underground, underrated, like no wave-ish noise rock band. Anywho, we're going to be reviewing an album today. The album is called Villains, right?
That's
By Quentin of Stonehenge.
Greg. That's not the right album. No.
Should I try again?
I think you should try again.
It's Villains by Queens of the Stone Age. How'd I do?
I think you did a pretty good job. I don't know.
Nice.
Yeah.
What'd you think of it?
Okay, so you should go first because you are a bigger fan of Queens of the Stone Age than I am.
Okay, that may be true. Okay, well, I'll put this out there right now. I am very much a bigger Caius fan than I am a Queens of the Stone Age fan. That being said, I still do quite enjoy my Queens of the Stone Age albums. I have been quite a fan of them for many days. And yeah, I was really excited to hear this album because I had listened to, bought, and quite enjoyed the album Like Clockwork that they did some years ago, which is like 2013, I think. And and I was a really big fan of that album. I liked the sound they were going for. They still had their fuzzy guitars and stuff like that, but they threw a lot more dancey grooves in there, and I was eager to see where they would go next if they were to. Are you okay?
Excuse me. Okay, it's okay.
Did you see a termite?
I thought I heard a disturbance.
Was there no disturbance?
There was no disturbance.
Shall I resume?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay, that's all good. So yeah, I was eager to see what they would come out with this time, and yeah, it was. What I thought about it was they definitely continued the sound of Like Clockwork in a way where I wasn't very surprised. They threw a lot of dance stuff in, they threw a lot of synth in, and they threw a lot of grooves, but not grooves like stoner rock grooves, more like grooves like funk and soul sort of grooves that you'd expect on a way more commercial band than Queens of the Stone Age, which was an interesting choice. And I mean, maybe not too surprising considered Mark Ronson was a producer of this album. But I thought they definitely did have was a pretty surprising departure for them, I think, from their past few albums where, I mean, even if they do have some pop elements here and there, it's definitely overwhelmingly rock and hard rock. And this one is starting to blur the line with crazy, like pop and dance and stuff like that. So I thought that was an interesting choice for them. But my opinions on the album are somewhat to this effect. I liked a few songs. I don't know. I think the songwriting was a little to be desired here and there. They suffered from the illness that I think a lot of bands tend to when they get older, which is they have cool ideas and they just don't flesh them out very much, or they have some nice grooves here and there, but like they don't build them, or they don't really depart from them. For instance, I was kind of disappointed with the what's the name of the first single that was on the album?
Was it The Way You Used to? The Way You Used to do?
The Way You Used to Do. It was cool, but it was very much, I felt that it wasn't as fleshed out as it could have been. And it was just kind of that riff and not much more, which can be done well. You know, they say that sometimes a riff is so fucking good that you want to listen to it for an hour, but it wasn't that good. You know, it wasn't an hour-long riff good. But there were definitely some songs that I think they did really well on. I thought that If You Don't Fail Me and Hideaway were very cool. So yeah, that's pretty much my takes on it. What did you think, Brian?
Cool. Well, I also enjoy Caius, but I'm a little bit behind the curve on that. And same with Queens of the Stone Age. My issue with Queens of the Stone Age, it's not with sound, it's not with production. I never really got that much into them because I would always get bored.
Yeah.
Like quickly.
What did you think about this one?
This album had a lot of cool ideas that kept me interested, and I can actually safely say this is the first album in its entirety that I've listened to by Queens of the Stone Age that I wasn't totally, not lost, but just bored. I stayed invested for just about all of it. I do think that I was bored with some songs, though, here and there. There's some filler on here.
Oh, yeah, undoubtedly.
It's upsetting when you have 9 tracks and you have filler.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
Which songs were filler to you?
Hideaway is a little bit forgettable for me.
Oh, I liked Hideaway.
Yeah.
But to me, the filler was more along the lines of Head Like a Haunted House. I didn't really care for that one.
That was one of my favorites.
Oh, shit. This is really embarrassing.
Oh, dear.
Sorry about that. Forget I said anything.
Like Fortress had a hook that was kind of cool at the end, but what you're saying is, yeah, like cool ideas, and all these songs start out really, really cool.
Yeah.
Some get lost, some meander. I'm okay with the way you used to do, because while it is just one thing, I'm okay with that, because the album is pretty diverse, and I'm okay with that. I like the funkiness of Feet Don't Fail Me. I like the weird syncopation in Domesticated Animals. I thought Head Like a Haunted House was cool. I mean, that was a jam, and I was super into that. The Evil Has Landed it made me want to walk into a bar, not do anything, just walk into a bar.
What would you do after? Would you leave?
I would just like spend 6 minutes walking into a bar. I would have a mustache and denim.
That's not too bad. What do you have? Revlon and a frenulum? Uh-oh. Okay. Hey, sorry to interrupt, but it's not important. Yeah, no, I mean, I completely agree. I think that's kind of the way this album tends to roll, is they definitely have some cool ideas. And I think the sort of sound they were going for was much better executed on Like Clockwork, where they did have a noticeable direction in the ways the songs were composed. And I just didn't get that on like maybe half of these tracks. Like half of these tracks, I think were, a riff, and then they were like, "Hey, play music," and then the music would play, and then Josh Homme would be like, "Okay," and it wouldn't be. I don't know. To me, it wasn't as memorable as some of the most dancierable songs from the last album. Like Smooth Sailing or something like that. And another thing is I do like what they did with Villains of Circumstance, the last song. I thought that was a cool song. Mm-hmm. But again, I think it was better done on their last album. I think that the song Like Clockwork was a much better, haunting, heavy, slow jam to finish the album. Whereas Villains of Circumstance was cool, but to me, it felt like it was watered down a bit, and it didn't pack as much of a punch. And I think that's my main gripe with the album.
Yeah, I get that. I do like how much Bowie was channeled throughout this album. That was cool.
Yes, there was a big Bowie influence on it, which I think was cool because, I mean, obvious reasons.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that they do him well. I think they do him. I think they do him hard, and I think they do him places. And yeah, there's definitely sections where they do him, and places that they do him. And there's areas, and they just go touching you, ooh, touching me, touching you. I'm Greg.
I'm Brian.
This is D- Chats. And don't call here again. Is that what do you want to is that what we should say at the end of every video?
I want, okay, so we're gonna have a new end of the video slogan.
I mean, sure, why not? I don't see why not.
Okay. I've got one for you.
Let's hear it. Was that the slogan? D- Chats. I've got one for you.
Surprisingly not bad. I was gonna say make proper noun adjective again.
Oh, hey, that's nice. Like, make Ray Charles inextricable again? Like he once was. Remember the good old days? Like, oh, Jack, don't come back no more. Welcome home, Jack.
She took my money, and I'm in need.
She took my money when I'm in money. Welcome home, Jack. But don't you be a Jack no more, no more.
Please legally change your name.
Jack, do not continue. Henceforth. Don't be Jack, and don't be no Jack forth. That's
Oh God!
That's
singing the word henceforth.
That's how Ray Charles writes music.
Oh God, that's actually hilarious to me.
It doesn't have to be. But yeah, so we're D- Chats. You know where to shove it. How's that?
I like that one.
All right. We're gonna ship on off to Boston. I'm getting tired. I'm gonna go to Betty Bye. Bye, y'all.
I say good night. Goodbye.
Good night. Goodbye. Bye bye.